All right, hey everyone. In this video, we're on site at Eric Thor's house and we're gonna be talking about his car. So let's dive right into it. Right. So let's meet Eric Thor.
Hi, I'm Eric. I'm a passionate Porsche guy. By day, I'm a banking executive. At night, I'm a dad of a couple kids. Love mountain biking and fitness.
Yeah, and you own this beautiful 997.2 GTS.
Yeah.
What got you into this car?
Yeah, you know, it's not my first Porsche, but I think what got me into it was my first Porsche at a 996. And although it wasn't the fastest car I ever owned, it was one of those moments where, you know, this car is near perfect in terms of linear power. But there were some things like, it was a 996, of course, the headlights, it was a narrow body car, you know, like prepare your comments to blow up with all the hate. It was just something I just felt, you know, was always missing from the car. So if I had an opportunity to do it again, and fortunately I would make sure, you know, I got a wide body car, and I think the 997.2 is going to be one of the all-time great generations.
I agree with that as well. And, you know, I've had one of these cars as well before, and that's kind of how we met each other as well. I had the 997.2 GTS of 2011, and this is the 2012 variant, right?
Yeah, the C4 GTS.
C4. Yeah. And mine was a C2. And that's for that C2, the GTS. What made it special was the fact that it was a wide body in a two-wheel drive.
Right.
Whereas with the four-wheel drive, you still get that wide body, but there's all of these other aspects that make it special for you, right?
Right. The two-wheel drive GTS was the only non-4 other than a GT3 RS that would give you the wide hips in the back with rear-wheel drive.
The Sport Classic, I believe, had the wide body manual, and that's the key piece as well. It's manual.
Yeah, that was obviously a draw. This car was kind of well researched before I bought it in terms of lasted the naturally aspirated high revving flat sixes, and it's made it to manual. Yeah, it's you know, really the perfect balance of analog and tech.
You've had other cars in your career or in your car journey, and that hasn't been Porsche. So what differentiated?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a car guy, as a lot of people are. I'm agnostic. You know, I'm really loving Porsche right now, but I've grown up. You know, started off with Fords. You know, Escort GT was kind of my first car that I started modifying. I've had Mustang GTs.
Yeah.
You know, get some great horsepower to those. But I've had, you know, other German Corrado G60 that was lowered and also, you know, pretty highly modified.
Careful, you're kind of telling people how old you are.
Yes. I didn't buy it new. It was used. Yeah, no, I'm a bit of an older guy. But yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah. So what makes these 911 special? You know, people say when you get into a 911, it's a completely different experience. You know, I got into that as well. You know, once you go 911, you don't see other cars the same way anymore, right?
Right. Yeah, it's hard to go back. You know, I think it's a perfect balance of, I don't say exclusivity. You know, it's not a supercar, but it's very usable. I've been fortunate to borrow some friends' Lamborghini for the weekend, and everything was a spectacle. And they're great cars, but if you wanted just to go to Blockbuster, there's another how old I am sort of moment. You know, you had to stop and talk for half an hour about how much the car cost, what did you do for a living, and you know, it was never a short trip. Whereas this, you know, it's sort of obscure. You can kind of blend in and just enjoy driving it.
And I love the fact that these cars are daily drivable. Yeah. You've got back seats, you can take the kid to school. Yeah. And that's one of the things that I kind of miss with my car as well. Right. Like, you know, I've traded this car in, I totally miss this car. So that practicality makes this even more appealing.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because one of the purchasing criteria when I bought this car was that it had back seats. Yeah. I was looking at the R8 V10, and it's an awesome car. And a friend of mine who's in a similar, you know, life, two young kids, he did get it, and he had it for about a year and a half, and didn't use it, and ended up selling it. Whereas you know, 7-8 years later, I still have this, and we use it all the time as a family.
Is it a weekend special? It's a daily driver? Is it a track special? How do you treat this car?
Yeah, this car is a fair weather car. Yeah. You know, part because I want to take care of it, and part, as you know, is you just get busier in life as it's the paradox of having nice things, right? You don't have the time to enjoy them sometimes. Yeah. So it really is just a nice weather car for me.
Let's switch gears a little bit. You know, we kind of understand who you are as a person, as a car guy, and the reason why you got into the car. what have you done to the car? You know, you know, a lot of people hesitate modding these cars.
Yeah, and I was one of those people.
Yeah, me too.
You had some bad influences in the, you know them as well as I do, but you can only show up to the car meet with the 4x4 stock ride height before you see, well, you know, and a compliment to you, because you went first. We both had our stock GTSs, and you sort of rolled the dice and went first.
And I pulled past him, so I had that, you know, 15 or 20 millimeter drop over.
Oh, you're calling that now. All right. I've more than made up for it now with my H&R coilovers. But yeah, you know, I saw how good, you know, it was a great canvas, and I saw how good it could look. And, you know, I started with some great counsel from our friends. And so what I've done to it, I'll start with, it's on H&R coilovers, lowered about, you know, 1 3/4 inches. You know, one of the things I'll say corrected on the car is the offsets. There was a lot of tuck on the OEM wheels, right? I think you felt the same way with yours. So got more aggressive with the offsets and used an opportunity to improve with the forged wheels. So it's a lighter wheel and probably 4 pounds per corner lighter.
That's a huge difference. Like,
yeah, no, you just, it's better handling as a result, lighter wheel, stronger wheel. And then the last thing I'd mentioned notable was the exhaust. You know, it's a GTS and it has the sport exhaust, but you gotta think, when you're driving the car, in between you and the exhaust sound is an engine, sound deadening, back seats, and the sound is behind you. So
GT3, you could have taken all of that stuff and still got that sort of exhaust knob, but you take away a lot of that practicality.
Yeah, and it is, you know, as I just talked about, you know, my family and kids, we go for ice cream in it, and it has to be sort of that balance of performance and enjoyment. So.
I have to say, this is, for me, the way I should have spec'd my car as well. I ended up doing things that I kind of regret, that forced the hand on getting rid of the car. But
well, what have I said to you on that? It's always easier to go second. So you went first.
Yes.
I kind of learned from that, so thank you.
Do you treat this as your forever car?
You know what? With the values and where they are, like, you know, as much I am a car person, I'm also a money person. So you're always, you know, weighing, you know, should I cash out now? The values are great, but you're just confronted with what would I replace it with? And so I don't think I'd sell it. I would certainly like to add to it, but I can see this being a forever car. There's very little I don't love about it. Maybe carbon ceramic brakes and bucket seats. That's kind of the only thing I would change.
The bucket seats, I believe you can get them in the folding carbon buckets as well. The stuff that you get spec'd in Europe. But you don't get them here. I don't quite understand that.
But, yeah, because if you didn't, you would give up your back seats in a way.
Yeah, like right now, I guess if you spec carbon bucket seats on this new generation cars, they delete the rear seats.
So I remember doing that at your house that one night.
But carbon ceramics would, definitely take it a notch as well. Those beautiful wheels, every time you come to meet us at coffee, it's caked up in brake dust.
You wash the car and drive it once and you're back to zero. So
no more ridicule for having brake dust in the barrels.
It's a tough crowd, so you know them. Well, I wouldn't say it's a limited edition car, but when you do the math on it, only a third of 997s were 997.2s. And then, you know, 10% of that, or a little bit less than 10% of that, were GTSs. So those where they took all the great parts, all the options you want, none of the ones you don't, and they put it in a package. And then of the GTSs, less than half, I think only about 40% were manual. So I think you put that all together, it's a pretty special package.
And one of the things I like about the 2011-12.
That's right.
Well, it's kind of a guarantee that they sorted out the IMS bearing issues, right? So any of the previous ones, the .1, 997.1, or even some of the .2s had these IMS bearing issues, which is, if the previous owner has taken care of it, it's good. If not, it's kind of a ticking time bomb, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So with the turbos and the GTSs in that era, it was a guarantee because they upgraded it from factory.
Exactly.
So that's another thing I think is special.
Yeah, it's peace of mind. Yeah, you don't have to worry about that.
From that perspective, it's bulletproof. It's definitely a forever car. The more we talk about
the one
this,
that got away, Prabhu, you're gonna lose sleep. You're gonna cry
it,
tonight as you put your head on the pillow.
Do you have a blow-up mattress or something I can just crawl up beside it?
You know it's yours anytime you want to borrow it. So,
what is it about this car that makes you want to get out and drive it?
Yeah, I think most car people would probably give you this cliche answer, but it's a cliche because it's true. Is you just the pressures and the stresses of the day just kind of wash away as you kind of row through the gears. We've got some great roads here south of where we live, and it's just a nice way to work through your problems.
Another reason to move into Manotick.
That's a good plug. Is your wife going to watch this? And then the other thing is community. I've made, I think about you and all the great people, through our car community network that I've met. It's just a wonderful way to connect with like-minded people. So.
Yeah. People kind of say 911s have a special driving sensation. Or I wouldn't say special, but a unique driving sensation because of where the motor is placed.
Right.
Have you noticed that when jumping in between the different cars that you've driven?
I can think about one experience. So I had a Mustang GT that was supercharged and 400 and something horsepower, front engine, rear wheel drive, and I also had my 996 911. And I remember one day, power sliding around a corner in the 996 because you could do that in a Mustang and recover. I did not look so calm, cool, collected as you do that in a 996. Because once you lose it, you're probably going to lose the pendulum effect of the back end. Unfortunately, it didn't end in being in a ditch.
Maybe if you gave it a... Oh, it did? No,
it did not end up being in a ditch, but I think I probably had to change my underpairs after that.
What does the future hold for you in this garage? You've got the 911 GTS, the 997.2, potentially a forever car. Right. What could complement this car?
I mean, there's so many cars on my wish list. A 997.2 GT3 RS, I think it's one of the all-time greats.
3.8 or a 4 liter?
Well, I think 3.8 is probably more attainable. It's a big dollar car, the 4.0s. I also, any GT car, I think you'd go there. But a bit different and unique that, I'm not sure a lot of people have keyed into. I like some of the older stuff, the poster cars of my youth. So I'm really looking at the second gen Viper GTS. I think it'd be cool to have another GTS in the garage. And I think they're going to do really well in value.
Yeah. One car that wants to try and kill you, the other car, let's take you along for a ride.
Totally. Yeah. They didn't put back seats in that for a reason. They didn't want to put the family at risk. So
how's that going? Have you found anything?
There's an auction right now that I'm participating in, and we'll see.
That's awesome. Well, let's end this video. Thank you very much, Eric, for kind of taking the time and talking about this with our audience here. Awesome. It's been a pleasure. I hope to do more of these type of setup type videos if possible. So if there's people out there, car guys like you, that want to do a video like this, let me know and we'll set something up. So thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit the subscribe button, hit the like button as well, and hit that bell icon so you get notified when we get up there.
When he uploads the video, you get notified.
Yes, hit the bell icon so you get notified when we upload more content. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. That's
awesome.
Good. Thanks, man.
That was fun.
Let's see how that goes.